Hey, how's it going? Tom here from Basic Income Victoria, BC. I wanted to take on, somebody uploaded a video to YouTube yesterday, and I've seen these a few times now, where they're trying to create a conspiracy theory around the idea of basic income, connecting it to World Economic Forum stuff and all this thing. And let's unpack this. One, the idea of basic income goes back hundreds of years, literally back to things like the Charter of the Forest. They gave every person rights to subsistence from the commons. So when people talk about, oh, if something's free, there's got to be something up to it. Well, that's not what William Marshall, first Earl of Pembroke and the finest knight who ever lived, thought. Because we have certain things that are free, and this should be one of them. This is Beacon Hill Park, and as far as I'm concerned, the ability to survive in this park should be a right of life. So, to those in the homeless encampments who've had no choice but to exercise their right in commenting, you have my support, of course. Now, let's go into this other stuff. If you go through, and I've actually gone out of my way to do this, if you go through the World Economic Forum books by, Klaus Schwab, basic income doesn't get mentioned. It literally never gets mentioned. In fact, there's a hell of a lot of people on the left, as well as the right, who are against basic income. And they will fight it tooth and nail all the way along the line. You know, the right believe that, the personal responsibility thing, and let's get rid of everything except for police and military. And the left are like, if we spend so much money on that, it's kind of the, it's the argument by the Basic Income Report that, well, if we spend money on that, it'll either be so much we won't have money for anything else, which is wrong, or we will have it so small that it won't be any good, also wrong. So, yeah, the idea really rose. It didn't rise during COVID. That's disgusting. It rose this third time around in, basic income. It rose this time around. First time around, people like Bertrand Russell in 1916. Second time around, people like Martin Luther King and Milton Friedman. Third time around was in 2014. There was the Oxford report that said that, in about 20 years, 47% of jobs are going to be gone. And so a lot of I use a lot of memes and stuff. A lot of those come from that kind of 2016, 2017 period when everybody started looking seriously at basic income. Andrew Yang started running. Scott Santons was putting out material. So that's really it. What happened with the pandemic was horrible, but it kind of, it's kind of like one person said, if you kind of squinted your eyes, some of these things like CERB kind of resembled a basic income. CERB wasn't a basic income, it was far too conditional. And when it comes to the whole thing of, Trudeau wants to do. No, what does Trudeau want to do? Trudeau is literally the logjam. We hate Trudeau. Trudeau is literally the logjam in basic income. He's been in interviews saying, I don't like universal programs. He told Krista Freeland, don't do anything permanent. He's told her not to, go for the idea of basic income. That's why we keep shouting at him. So, yeah. So, one, the idea that there's plenty of things that we allow there to be free. If you want to say nothing can be free, then we should also tax inheritance. We don't do that. We allow private inheritance, and basic income is a form of public inheritance on everything we built up. We basically, Beacon Hill Park, what a great example. You're not allowed to camp here, even though it's a common. So this commons has been enclosed. It's been enclosed. And so since you're not allowed to live off the land, basic income goes right. We've told you can't live off the land anywhere, so we're making up that difference. This is your social inheritance, which you then build on. The idea of any of these other ones, what was it? Okay, what's it called? Not New World Order, that one's silly. But Mark of the Beast, that's the Mark of the Beast one. That's a whole thing. There has to be a temple in Jerusalem, and the beast has to be there, and he has to declare this thing. And anyway, the idea is that you can't spend money without it. Well, under a basic income, if you have most versions, especially the Canadian version, if you have lots of money, your basic income is clawed all the way back until it's non-existent. It's still there in the background, but you don't get any money from it. So you're spending money from the work that you do, not from not from the basic income you get. And you can still spend money. You can still purchase things online. So I mean, that one falls apart pretty quick. And you can listen to it. There's loads of theologians on YouTube to look up as to like they were asking, well, what about mandates? Are mandates a mark of the beast? And he explains incredibly well that no. I mean, first off, you can buy online. So what? So the truth is, there's been loads of people who've been against the idea from the start, and they're coming up with anything they can to make it sound bad. And they're trying to scare people away and giving them these crazy, ideas that it has no basis in reality. If you actually, if you look into basic income and its history, people it goes back to Thomas More, Thomas Paine, when it comes to you find people on the left and the right, and you find the people on the left and the right who are opposed. For instance, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Pretty much, the godfathers of, they weren't the only people writing about communism and socialism, but they were two of the kind of godfathers of it. Well, they saw the Spiegelman system in the early 1800s and said, "No, thanks, not good enough. We want to take over the means of production, not prop up capitalism with money." And when it comes to, we don't want anything socialist, but we do allow certain things. Again, if you want to go pure capitalist or pure right, it would be only police and military. Well, of course we accept that there's going to be other things beyond that. So, I mean, that's just silly. We can decide, I've been reading about subject of rights, Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I just got my own copy of that. And, my own wall one. Because I'm a crazy person. And as some of the books on our rights have explained, we had the original, I think it was the Canadian, it was the British America Act or something like that in 1867 or something. And then we had the next one was in the 60s, but it wasn't very good. And then we had the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, 82. And as some of the books on this have explained, we're always evolving our rights. We're always kind of we need to shift this or change this. So we're always changing and evolving. And this is just another idea. It's just a floor that you can't fall below. And when you look at some of the programs that have been enacted here in Victoria, they're still problematic, because if there's a program, you could be in a program, that means you can also be out of a program. And then you're right back here in Beacon Hill Park again. So the nice thing about this is that it ensures it as a right. It makes sure you can't, falling into poverty becomes impossible. And then people want more out of life, And so what do? They work, they do stuff, they spend money into the economy. You're going past the truck. They spend money into the economy. It's not like buying a fighter jet. You buy your fighter jet, that's the end of the purchase. You spend money on this, it goes right back. And we saw this here in BC with the BC Recovery Benefit. Serena Robinson, in that ridiculous thing they just did, but she still said it, which is yeah, we put it out and it spent right back in the economy. I'm like, I know. We've only been saying that all along. So, yeah. So never mind the crazy stuff. Never mind the critics. Basic income works.